Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. We are back. It's England County Championship Cricket. We've had a couple of weeks off. There's been the Vitality Blast. There's been white balls flailing everywhere. But now we're back to good old proper red ball cricket, Rich. We've had 8 fascinating games in what is a superb red ball season so far.
We certainly have, Rob. We are on to round 8. It's been very strange with the scheduling. We've had 7 rounds of red ball cricket of London Victoria Championship before any other cricket was played. Strange formatting, strange scheduling. We've had, like you said, the Vitality Blast. Test cricket is up and running. England are about to go and play ODIs, but they've just crowbarred in another round, another little round, and just crunched it into the schedule of the County Championship, Rob. And we're here to break it all down, aren't we?
Are we saying we're proper old school when we go, you know what, it'd be, or I feel like this, I feel it'd be nice if throughout the season there was a first class game every week. Every week there's 4 days of first class cricket, like the good old days. 4 days of first class cricket, and on the Sunday they play the Gillette Cup.
Hey, it'd be nice. Can't see that happening anymore, but there's something. Obviously, the format, that's a huge conversation of how they're going to schedule all these competitions. It's not right yet. It's definitely not right yet. But we will see where it does end up. We just hope it doesn't get pushed too far to the back, because it's been a really good start, hasn't it? We've been seeing some fantastic cricket. We've seen spinners taking wickets. We've seen people scoring big runs, and we've not seen county trundlers topping the bowling charts, even though it has been played so early. So it's not all bad. But yeah, like you said, we've got 8 games to go. It's round 8. Should we get straight into it? Division 1.
Let's go. Where are we going first?
We are going to Taunton, Rob. Surrey travelled to Taunton against Somerset. Surrey, a 3-wicket win, Rob. We'll go through each game as a time, obviously, break it down. But for this one, strong first innings performance with the ball set up Surrey's 3-wicket win over a gritty Somerset side who fought back in the game to make Surrey earn this one, which they did by chasing down a target of 193 on the final day. Somerset choosing to bat first. They're frustrated by the first innings, 180. Plenty of starts, but no one went on. Craig Overton top scored with a gutsy 29. He had to leave the field after being hit by brother Jamie. Craig did return, but then after Josh Davey was also hit and had to leave the field by Jamie Overton again. Jamie Overton, we need to keep an eye on him, don't we? He's got some pace, and England are sadly lacking that with all the injuries at the moment. He finishes 3 for 34. Aussie Dan Worrell 3 for 28, and 24-year-old seamer Gus Atkinson 3 wickets as well. Surrey reply, Rory Burns knuckled down at the top of the order to record 113. Second County Championship 100 of the year for him. Will Jacks 88. Jordan Clark down the order 63. Not out, who's having a very good season, bat and ball. It's worth noting here, Somerset attack had to be changed on the morning of day 2 as Craig Overton was ruled out of concussion. A worrying development because he had returned to bat. He then bowled 6 overs before the close of play on day 1. And then he was subbed out for Marchant Delan. It's doesn't quite fit right with me, that one doesn't. So that's something just to monitor. Siddle, Gregory, and DeLang all took 2 wickets for Somerset. Somerset dug in the second innings, then putting on up 384. Ex-England man Lewis Gregory, linchpin with 110. Tom Abel, 45. Lewis Goldsworthy, 67. And Siddle, the banana man, 42, helped Somerset put up a solid second innings score. This meant Surrey would need to chase the 193 for the win. They overcame in exactly 50 overs, just like England did. Will Jacks top scoring was 62. But Somerset did make Surrey sweat, though. 21-year-old Casey Aldred taking 4 for 61 in his second first-class game. They reduced them to 7 down before Jordan Clark and that man, Jamie Overton, saw them home.
Somerset, I called it at the start of the season, relegation issues, question mark. They currently find themselves in the relegation zone after that. 1-2. And this is the problem. The batting hasn't been good enough. It was the worst batting unit in the country a week ago. It's probably still about there now. Sorry, they may have just been above Leicestershire, which is most people are above Leicestershire. 5 defeats, no draws. And that comes down to the quality of batting. And you can see that they got blown away in the first innings and then they were chasing up the gun. And this is the inconsistency you've seen. You've seen them some games go and score 500s, but they get bowled out less than 200, more than anyone else in this division. And they chased it back with the 394. That's great. But who scored the big runs? It was Lewis Gregory coming in at number 7. They didn't get anything from Ben Green. And then there was just a lot of starts going on. So I'm not surprised with the result. I'm probably surprised it was as close as it was, given how Somerset have been so inconsistent. But Surrey, no Ollie Pope. There was question marks. This is Team England A, or whatever we might want to call it. Lots of England-type players in there. It's only really Ollie Pope that's not there anymore, and Ben Folkes. but still getting it done. Find themselves undefeated, top of the table, and still got a turn and still the best team in the country.
Absolutely, yeah. Somerset's still struggling, second from bottom at the moment, aren't they? And like you said, Surrey at the top, looking very good value for it as well. We're heading south, Rob. The Rose Bowl. Yorkshire visited Hampshire, and Hampshire got a win by 2 wickets in this one. A very similar outcome and a similar chase in this one as the Surrey game. A final day thriller, we're going to call this one. So Hampshire sneaked past the target of 197 and secured a 2-wicket win over Yorkshire, thanks in large part to Liam Dawson's 67 that leaves Hampshire in second spot behind Surrey in Division 1. Yorkshire got the return to red ball after a solid start first innings, 4-2-8. George Hill, 21-year-old opener, hit 131, his second first-class 100. Harry Brook obviously did what Harry Brook does. He got himself 76 and closed in on 1,000 runs for the season. Don Bess unbeaten on 51. Brad Wheel took 459 for Hampshire. In the reply that almost matched Yorkshire with 410, just 18 runs short. A real team effort. Nick Gubbins, 58. Liam Dawson, 61. Ben Brown, 83. Plenty of support, though, from James Vince, Anna Donald, Keith Barker, James Fuller, Kyle Abbott, all getting into their 30s. Jordan Thompson with 4 wickets for the Yorkshiremen. With a slim lead of 18, Yorkshire were then dismissed for just 178 with Matthew Reeves' 28 not out. The top score down at number 9. They'll be disappointed with their second innings. Wheel again in the wickets, 3 for 32, along with Barker and Abbott, who also took 3 fors. So target of 198 was set. Both teams would have fancied the chances, but despite a wonderful effort by the Yorkshire bowlers, Liam Dawson and the Hampshire batters did just enough to get the side over the line. Nick Gubbins, 42, whilst Patterson, Best, Thompson, 2 wickets apiece. But Hampshire just scraped over the line with this one.
Hampshire have been great all season, and they're going through the transition period of not having people like Mohammed Abbas available for them, but they still did it. Why did they do it? They beat teams by taking 20 wickets, and they took 20 wickets here, and they did it really good. Yorkshire has been good with the bat this year. Their problem is they're not winning many games of cricket. They've only won 1 game all season. Why have they won 1 game all season? Because they struggled to take 20 wickets. It's 2 completely opposite, different things. Keith Barker has been exceptional. Kyle Abbott has been exceptional this year. Brad Wheel will always come in and do a decent job for you. And although Hampshire's batting isn't all singing or dancing, they've got guys that know the roles and can operate at a decent level. Ian Holland's a great story as well. I'm sure we've touched on him. He won like an X Factor type thing in Australia. That's how he got his cricket contract back in the day and now plays for the United States. Like, incredible story. Gubbins has been great. He scored that century against Lancashire, against Jimmy Anderson, against Hassan Ali. And sure, he didn't score 100 here, but his 58 in the first innings really set the tone and allowed James Vince and Ben Brown, who's not been quite as hot this year as he has been in previous years, to come and score some decent runs. And then who is it that's there? He goes and scores 42, holds that middle order together while chasing it down. And they did it at 4.36 and over, Rich. That's a decent lick. Put Hampshire into second, 3 points behind Surrey. And it's looking like a collision of those 2 teams. When those 2 teams play, you're playing a 40-point contest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're looking good for it. Everyone's favourites, weren't they, at the start of the year, Hampshire? So they are where we expected them to be and looking good for it. Let's get across to Edgbaston next, Rob. Warwickshire hosted Lancashire. Another relatively close finish. Lancashire did win this one by 4 wickets, though. An unbelievable win, Rob, chasing down a mammoth 329. 329, I'll say that again, with one of the finest 4th-inning knocks you will see from Lancashire opener Luke Wells. He struck an unbeaten 175 to get the win for the Red Rose County, their 3rd of the season. Warwickshire had Sam Hain thanking the first innings. He scored 130 out of 292. Michael Burgess helped along with 41 as well. With the ball, George Balderson and Danny Lambo took 3 wickets, with Balderson claiming the wickets of the trio of England hopefuls, Dom Sibley, Rob Yates and Sam Hain. Yates, he hit 1,000 runs last year, Rob, wintered with the England Lions, 0 and 8 in this game. He is struggling. What is going on with the young man in Rob Yates? In reply, the first innings, Lancashire ended 1 short of the Warwickshire total in getting 291. Stephen Croft top scoring with 90. Dane Villas, 37, the skipper. And the main man got his iron, Luke Wells, 36. With the new ball, there was a welcome return for another England hopeful in Liam Norwell, who made it long awaited return. Hit his strap straight away, 5 for 78 off 23.1 overs. Many people in the England setup will be breathing a sigh of relief knowing that they've got 1 bowler on the way back. Warwickshire then put up a very good 327 for 9 before declaring to set Lancashire that 329 run total, thanks to 121 from opener and ex-Lancastrian Alex Davis. Burgess chipped in again for 46, and 29-year-old Kiwi seamer William Williams Up there with the Richie Richardsons of this world, that name, isn't it? Led with the ball, 4 for 70. Tom Bailey, 3 for 70. But then it was all about Luke Wells. You can tell me about Will Williams in a minute, though. But the opener batted through 95.3 overs for his 175 not out to shock Warwickshire and secure this stunning victory. He didn't have much support, but it'd be great for Rob Jones to hang around. He got 66 as they put on 163 for the 5th wicket. Once Jones went, Balderson joined Wells, got them close, but there was more drama. Danny Briggs grabbed his wicket, but thankfully for Lancashire, there was only another 4 runs required, and Wells did what was needed. A stunning performance from Luke Wells.
Cracking game. You know what? This is part of the problem with Test match cricket going on with county cricket at the same time, because this was must-see TV. They needed 300 going into the final day to try and win the game. County cricket is all about trying to win games of cricket. When you've got Hampshire winning 5 out of 7 games, you've got winning 4 out of 7 games, and you're Lancashire. You won your first 2 games of the season, then you've not won for 4 games. So it was backs against the wall. We've got to try and go and get a result here. And Luke Wells played the knock of his life here. He's got a high score of 258. It's his 20th first-class century from 161 games. A hell of a player. I did see on Twitter there was a bit of a, hey, Luke Wells, England watch.
Yeah.
31 years old.
Yeah.
Averages 36. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon. There's probably guys who's been performing to a greater level this year, and that's not a knock against him. Will Williams is one of these players, because of the scheduling that's going on. Counties have been making all these random signings for 1 or 2 weeks just to try and make it through the season. He comes in, Canterbury-born lad, and got himself a game. He did all right for himself. He has got a decent record for Canterbury in first-class cricket, 122 wickets at an average of 22, 5 4-wicket hauls and 2 fifers. So always there or thereabouts, but he'll be really, really happy with that sort of performance. There's an ongoing thing. Kiwis popping into county cricket, doing well for himself this week. It worked out all right. And a guy we mentioned on yesterday's podcast doing the England-Netherlands one-day international review, Sam Hain, with 130. He's having a completely, maybe under-the-radar season, but third highest run scorer in the country, 716 runs. He's got 3 centuries in his last 3 matches, an average of 79. 26 years old, Rich, getting towards peak powers, looking very good. Good.
Yeah.
What more can he do?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, he's absolutely firing, isn't he? And he's a good player in all formats as well. Red ball was probably his weakness, and now he is the 3rd leading run scorer in Division 1. His name needs to be going up there. He's on England Watch now. He's getting the tweets. I'm sure he loves that.
Oh, I know you mentioned Liam Norwell as well, but that needs a doff of the cap. He was pretty rough after concussions, and just great to see him back. I thought he was really good. When I watched England Day against Australia A, I thought he was really good. Looks the part, bowls the part, he's fast enough, and Pfeiffer on coming back in, really happy for him.
Absolutely. The 4th and final game in Division 1 then, Rob, we're over at Canterbury where Kent took on Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire really struggling this year. Kent doing a little bit better than maybe wanted to expected, and Kent won this one. A huge win for them in the grand scheme of things, for 8-wicket win here. It was only an 88-run target that they did chase down, but they did it inside 23 overs on the afternoon of the final day. So batting first, Gloucestershire, they'll be happy. 438, Kiwi smasher. We're talking about Kiwis again, Rob. Glenn Phillips, 125 in good time for him. Miles Hammond, 66. Oliver Price, 51. And his brother, Tom Price, 39. All good contributions. Zafar Gohar, 49. Jug avoidance as well for him. Matt Milne's back in the team. We know him well. Originally, his dad played with us at Newark, and he even played 1 game under somebody else's name when he was 12. Hopefully that doesn't get him in trouble. He led with the ball, 4 for 93. Kiwi, Jacob Duffy, 3 for 96, and Grant Stewart, 3 for 81, all bowling well. Kent, in reply, 438. I'll see you that. 564 for them. Ben Compton continued where he left off with 80, with our friend Daniel Bell-Drummond struck 89 at number 3. Jack Leaney then compiled 128, his 6th first-class 100, alongside 21-year-old Jordan Cox, who top scored with 158, his 3rd first-class 100 already. Great player, someone to look out for in the future. The pair put on 254 together. Sam Billings, 43, Matt Milnes, 37, made sure Kent took a lead of 126 into the 2nd innings. 22-year-old off-spinner Tom Price took a career best 5 for 58. 2nd innings for Gloucestershire, they never really got going. to set it. They worked to set a total, but were dismissed for 228. Glenn Phillips top scoring again with 59. Jacob Duffy with a ball though, Rob. He took 5 for 66 in 17 overs, but that included a triple wicket maiden on the eve of day 3. Stunning stuff from him. Chasing at 88, Ben Compton 30, fellow opener Ollie Robinson, the other one, were the men out there, leaving Daniel Bell Drummond to see them over the line with unbeaten 20, alongside first innings centurion Jack Leaning. A really valuable win for Kent in their quest to stay in Division 1.
Yeah, they needed this. Their bowling has been the worst bowling unit in the country the whole season. So it didn't surprise me when I looked at the end of day 1 and saw that the opposition had scored 438 or were on the way to 438. But to come back and bowl them out for 213, it was huge. And a win can't be overstated. It's their first one of the season. Gloucestershire, they find themselves 0 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, 41 points in an absolute mess. Whereas Kent, they're actually unbeaten in 4 games now, which is a massive improvement from where they were.
Yeah.
A couple of things to take away. One, Glenn Phillips, other than doing 500 push-ups a day, is a T20 star around the world now. He will end up in the IPL. He's that sort of player. He's great. He's black caps. He's going to be in the T20 World Cup this year. He's more than just being a T20 player. He's good enough to play potentially Test match cricket. In fact, he has played Test match cricket. He's played 1 game and he's got a highest of 52. But he's got an average of 40.55 batting in first-class cricket. That's playing for Auckland. Now, the reason I mention this, there's another player that's probably of a similar ilk. Colin Monroe, T20 franchise superstar around the world, actually averages about 50 in first-class cricket, but just overlooked because he's not that mould. But when you've seen him play at Eden Park, short boundaries, he goes absolutely crazy and hits a whole shed load of runs and sticks the ball in the stands all the time. So it's interesting, is what I'd probably say. The other one coming out of this was Sam Billings, who, other than liking our tweets over the last few months, has spent time in the IPL, has dropped down the pecking order of wicket keepers for England after that game in Australia where he actually did okay for himself.
Yeah.
Got 43. I'm struggling to see it where Sam Billings comes back into this unit. I think, given the current setup there is, I honestly, at the moment, I feel if Ben Folkes went down injured, I think you'd see Josh Butler getting a phone call. I honestly do.
Yeah, and that would be a bit of a travesty in all respect, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole today at the moment. But yeah, hopefully Ben Folkes does continue with the gloves. Billings, it'd be nice to see him just kick on a little bit with the bat. He's doing okay, isn't he? Captaining down there at Kent. He's leading them quite well. And they'll be very happy that Matt Milnes has returned, who had a really good year for them last year.
We should say Ben Compton as well. Continued excellent form, although he didn't score 100. And I know you've mentioned his innings, but
failure.
988 runs at an average of 98 is just insanely good.
Yeah, absolutely. Leading run scorer in the country. Shan Masood in Division 2 has got 991. He's got 962, so he's just below Shan Masood, isn't he? In the numbers. But he's having a sensational summer. And the more this run continues, the more we can start saying, well, maybe he is an option for England. Zach Crawley, you better score some runs soon, sunshine. Otherwise, Ben Compton's coming for your spot. Right, let's get across to Division 2 then, Rob. Durham against Worcestershire, Chesterfield. We have a draw. And when Durham start with an epic 642 for 7 declared, you then follow up with Worcestershire hitting 550. It was always going to be a draw, wasn't it? The game ended basically with Durham openers Michael Jones and Ravindra putting on an unbeaten 102 as the game came to a close with 1,294 runs and only 17 wickets in this match.
Road.
No, exactly. No chance of a result. So let's have a look there. Ravindra, 22-year-old New Zealand opening bat. He was a star of the first innings. He struck 217 on debut for Durham and was supported well by skipper Scott Borthwick, who hit 96. The middle order did stumble, which is a strange thing to say at 642. But then we had a remarkable partnership from Paul Coughlin and Ben Rain, and Ben Rain, who put on 219 for the 8th wicket. Coughlin finishing 100 not out and Rain 103 not out, both their maiden first-class hundreds. That did surprise me, especially with Coughlin, who I thought would have already had a few. Understandable that Borthwick would have been happy to see the pair both reach their hundreds before declaration came. 22-year-old left-arm seamer Ben Gibbon took a career best 4 for 127 in just his third first-class appearance. Worcestershire made the most of it, as we said as well, with their 550. Captain Brett D'Oliveira got another 100. Dead on 100 in this game. And all-rounder Ed Barnard, 128, who's been linked with a move to Warwickshire in recent days. An ascending player to keep an eye on is Ed Barnard. He averages over 30 with a bat, under 30 with a ball. An underrated cricketer. Azhar Ali, Gareth Roderick, both hit 45, while Jack Haynes continued his fine sum with 68. Dylan Pennington got in the fun as well, 41 from number 11. He has to get a mention. Durham used 9 bowlers. Disappointingly, David Benningham didn't get a bowl. He was the only man who didn't. Ben Rain, 4 for 76 in 38 overs for him.
Good spell.
Wonderful game, absolutely. As the game moved to its inevitable conclusion, Ravindra and Jones took the opportunity for a few more runs. Both teams sit comfortably mid-table. Worcestershire in 4th on 94. Durham a spot behind on 90 points.
I still think Durham are disappointed with the season. At the start of the season, it was not St Durham, and it's just not worked out like that.
No.
I think all the plaudits here, quite rightly, need to go to Rashim Ravindra, 22 years old, called up out of the blue just to, again, like Will Williams of Willinghamshire, just to fill a hole, just to make sure they get enough guys on the field. He's played Test match cricket for the Black Caps. He played 2 Test matches on the tour of India, which was really, really difficult, but incredibly, he made his debut. It's, was it Jaipur, Kanpur. Didn't get any runs in the first innings, but they held on to draw 165 for 9 off 98 overs to draw on the 5th day in India, and him and Ajaz Patel batted for maybe 10 overs at the end. But Ravindra, 18 not out off 91 balls, batting an hour and a half against Ashwin, Axar Patel and Ravi Jadeja. So he's got a lot about him and a lot to like. He's had quite a quiet start to his Test career. But innings like this show why he averages 40 in first-class cricket. He's a genuine quality player. I think the only downside to this game is you look at it and you go, well, the Worcestershire top 6 kind of missed out a little bit here, didn't they? Like there's all these runs, but it's a lot of guys down the order that was doing the weight of the work. Taylor Cornell came in, he didn't get any. Jake Libby's having a terrible season for Jake Lee. 2-3 years on the trot, averaging over 50, and this year he's barely making ends meet as an opener. It's unusual for him, particularly on grounds like this where there's a shed loads of runs. So there is something obviously not quite sinking and working out for him this year.
Yeah, absolutely. New Zealand opener, I think Will Young will be looking over his shoulder at this performance, 217 for the young man. So it's something just to be mindful of. Let's move across Derbyshire. They hosted a game at Chesterfield, one of their outgrounds. They hosted Middlesex and they won this one by 6 wickets, Rob. Another impressive performance on the Mickey R for Derbyshire. Second place, Middlesex as well. This was a tight affair, really, before the added class and experience of Shan Masood guided them home as they chased down a target of 219. Middlesex chose to bat first, posted 251, a game-high score. Luke Holman top scored with 48. Plenty of starts. No one kicked on past 50, although Ethan Bamber will say he was on his way as he finished unbeaten on 37. Notts Loney, Toby Petman took 3 for 40 in his first county championship appearance. He's played 8 first-class games, but they all came at this time as Oxford University, so this was a great opportunity for him to show what he can do. He's 24. These players should be playing first-class cricket, and if you can't get a game for Notts, this is what you're going to have to do, isn't it? Mark Watt, Scottish International, was also making his county championship debut. He took 2 wickets. In reply, Derbyshire top 4 just about did the job. Masood 49, Godleman 34, Brooke Guest 40, Madsen 62. Combined to take Derbyshire 208 for 4 before a monumental collapse, 229 all out. After the top 4 got all those runs. Toby Rowland Jones, chief architect of the downfall, 5 for 45 for him with Murtagh and Mini Murtagh, Ethan Bamber, 2 wickets apiece. Once again, no one really got going for Middlesex. Stoneman, 67, and Max Holden, the only men to score above 30, 67 and 45 respectively. Lewis, Rees and Jadal, 3 wickets each, with Rees particularly impressive, 3 for 26 in 16.5. This set up the 200-run target, which Derbyshire reached thanks in large part to the star man of the summer, Shan Masood, who fell 2 runs short of his 4th 100 of the year, 98 off just 113 balls. He's almost at 1,000 runs, isn't he? Murtagh and Bamber made the inroads, but veteran Wayne Madsen and Lewis Rees took them home, finishing on 49 and 35 not out. Second county championship win of the summer for Derbyshire as they move to 3rd place, and they begin dreaming, Rob, of a possible promotion push.
Yeah, this is interesting because Notts have basically just played Middlesex and then Derbyshire in the 2 weeks prior to this, right?
Mhm.
Notts obliterated Middlesex, but it was a draw. Then they smashed
Mhm.
through Derbyshire. And Middlesex were a surprise package considering their batting was so poor last year. Then they turn up this year and the whole picture's looking a lot more rosy. But Derbyshire's even more left field than that. Mickey Arthur and Ian Bell and everyone that's working there have done a
Mm.
fantastic job. And they do have a lot to thank Shah Masood for because he's incredible. 991 runs, as
Mm.
you mentioned, at an average of 93 centuries, 450s, almost up to 1,000 county championship runs, and probably will get there before the end of June as well. I think there's one more round of games before the end of the month. So just great. And the thing that's been missing from this Derbyshire team
Mm.
is winning games of cricket. There's 4 draws thrown into the mixer. They've got 2 wins, 1 defeat coming at the hands of Notts. But here, you managed to see something a little different. And I think maybe adding someone like a Mark Watt, who was fantastic in the T20 World Cup, completely different
Mm.
format, but T20 World Cup for Scotland, he was the outstanding, almost associate nation bowler. And that's not meant in a derogatory term. He just
Mm.
over exceeded everything that you'd expect him to do. Derbyshire have struggled to take wickets this year. That's why they've not won enough games. Here, they went and took wickets. And again, you look at it, quite interesting. Sam Connors, who you'd probably expect out of this bowling lineup to get a whole load of wickets, didn't take any in the game. It was your Lewis
Mm.
Reese, it was Anuj Dahl, who's been really impressive this year, Mark Watt, and Alex Thompson chipping in with wickets again, like he has been doing all season. So
Mm.
I don't know why I like this Derbyshire team, as in I feel an affinity towards them and I want them to do well, but
Mm.
they just feel like a Derbyshire, Leicestershire feel like such underdog stories.
Yeah.
I'm quite excited to see where they're going to end up come the end of the year.
Yeah, I think Mickey Arthur was probably the biggest signing of the summer for
Yeah,
in county cricket. Full stop. You know, obviously Shan Masood's probably saying I am, but I think that Mickey Arthur just put that interest in there and has suddenly made Derbyshire relevant. And
yeah,
he's made it. It's like, no, we're not accepting being Derbyshire and you know finishing bottom of the table or whatever anymore. This is a new regime. This is a new setup. We don't expect that anymore. So it's awesome. You know, as a Notts fan, you see him as a rival, but I just love the fact that they are doing well. I do agree with you, Rob, completely. And we will see. I think they're going to push Middlesex close for that second spot. So, right, 2 more games, Rob. We're going to rattle through this. We'll give you it's a quick roundup of County Championship this week. Sussex Glamorgan at Cardiff. Glamorgan won by 5 wickets. Yet another game, Rob, that went down to the final evening of the 4th day. Glamorgan chased down 141 run target with Sam Northeast and Captain Chris Cook there at the end to see them home, score a really good win. Unfortunate Sussex side, isn't it? They just cannot get that first win of the season. So batting first, Sussex 376 with Ollie Carter hitting a magnificent 185. His maiden first class 100. What a way to do it. Opener Tom Clark 55, 36 from Henry Crocombe, and the on loan Jack Brooks also 36. Down at 9 and 10, got them a pretty good score. Andrew Salter was rewarded though with his bowling. 41.4 overs bowled, Rob, 4 for 107. That is a spell.
useful.
Yeah, Glamorgan startled at 5 for 1 in response when David Lloyd went, but experienced South African man Colin Ingram was joined by Eddie Byram, and the pair went to town. Put on 328 for the second wicket. Ingram scoring 178, Byram 176. The young fella's 4th first class 100. And career best as well. First innings of 494 was a great effort and was the difference. Crocombe 4 for 84, 20-year-old Sean Hunt 3 for 76. Sussex second innings were reliant again on Ollie Carter as he top scored again, this time with 83. Tom Clark again 34, and all-rounder Delray Rawlins 57. I think Sussex at this point would have been optimistic about getting that elusive win. And when Sussex were reduced them to 3-4-9, they would have thought they had a chance. But the Glamorgan ship was steadied by North East. He finished unbeaten on 45. Kieran Carlson, he got 45, but he was removed. Billy Root, Kevin went for 17, but Chris Cook arrived just in time to help North East finish the job and grab a 3rd win of the campaign for Glamorgan.
What a weird game.
Very.
376 plays 494, but what a weird game, right? The Sussex batting card, you've got 185 for Ollie Carter and power to him, and amazing Sussex that they have got this amazing conveyor belt that a 20-year-old can come in, perform. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Tom Haynes or Ali Orr, whoever it might be, they come in and they do well. But then there was, Tom Clark got a couple, but then there was nothing. There was a lot of the team being pulled out. And same when you look at the Glamorgan innings, batting at 2, Eddie Byram, 176, Colin Ingram, 178. No one else made it past 33. And the only guys that got to 33 was number 8, 9, and 10 in the order. Everyone else, the whole top order, got blown away. They put on 328. Sam Northeast goes, pad rash. There's proper pad rash. Was padded up for 89 overs, waiting to bat, went in and got a first baller, cleaned up by Henry Crocombe. So just an unusual game of cricket. And Glamorgan, sneakily under the radar, find themselves level with Derbyshire in that kind of tied third sort of spot. 3 victories to the net. And they're doing it off the back of just a really good bowling attack. Michael Nesser, they've had Hogan in there as well. Adam Salters, one of the top 5-10 spinners in the country generally. They're a winning team, and they're going to win games of cricket playing this brand of cricket, as long as the batting can hold up just enough to give them a chance of victory. And here they did.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right as well, aren't you? Bowling, it's a consistent attack, isn't it? You don't usually see someone from Glamorgan taking 4, 5, 6 wickets, but what you do see is that the same people are taking 2 or 3 wickets every innings. But it is that batting. Sam Northeast is their leading run scorer. He's touching 500 runs for the summer. They just need someone to go on and grab hold of things, don't they? And just be the man that everyone can bat around, to just go up from the 250, 300 up to 350s, 400s. To really kick on if they've got any chance, really, I think, of pushing into that second spot. Behind, you would imagine, Rob, Nottinghamshire, who are absolutely locked in the top spot, and they continue to be so after innings and 9-run victory over Leicestershire at Grace Road this last week. It finished inside 3 days. But when you look at what happened in this one, you would have thought this would have been pushed to the line after the first innings. So let's look for it anyway, and then we're all done for this week. So after choosing to bowl, Notts made the quick breakthrough starman Hassan Azad for 6, but then saw Leicestershire go on to compile a very impressive 440. Led by Centurions at 3 and 4. Lewis Hill, 104. Colin Ackerman, 116. Notts did continue to make inroads after removing Hill, but was slowed again by all-rounder Ben Mike, 78. Liam Patterson-White once again led the way with the ball, claiming 3 for 45 and 16 over. Seamers Brett Hutton and James Pattinson, as well as skipper Steve Mullaney, all got themselves 2 wickets apiece. In reply to a decent score, up against it, Notts got off to a flyer and never really slowed down. First, Hasib Hamid went along at a near runner ball strike rate for his 59 before he decided to leave a straight one from Ben Mike and got cleaned up. Ben Duckett, he was already going along at a rate of knots and was joined by Joe Clark, and the pair put on a swift 198 before Duckett went for a mightily fine 145 off just 153 deliveries. His second 100 to go along with his 550s so far this summer in the county championship. He's somebody that we've been talking about. The 50s are great, but he needed to go and score hundreds. Great to see him do this in this game. Leicestershire fought the way back by removing Lyndon James from none, and Clark went for 89, but Notts' batting is stacked. And Mullaney added 62, Patterson-White 34, and Tom Moores 84 before he was last man out. But not out after being hit and had to retire, not out. Ian Mulder at 308 was the pick, with Callum Parkinson, Chris Wright and Ben Mike all taking 2 as well. The lead of 108 was handy, wasn't it? But not a win by an innings handy, I would have to say. But Notts went out and destroyed the Leicestershire card, dismissing them for just 99. Only resistance being shown at the top of the card with Hassan Azad's 34, Harry Swindle's 21. Notts ripped through them. Liam Patterson-White once again and again leading the way, this time taking 4 for 15 off 13 overs. Fantastic from him. A timely performance as well from the young spinner all-rounder when we're looking at England test side. Dane Patterson, 3 for 30. Brett Hutton grabbed 2, and Aussie James Patterson the other wicket. Patterson White and Dane Patterson now have 28 wickets for the year. Patterson in just 5 games.
That's
Liam
actually quite incredible, mate. That's actually
really
quite
is.
incredible. Particularly, one, Dane Patterson's only played 5 games, so his record is outstanding. But Liam Patterson-White bowling his left arm spin. He got 5 for first game of the season, I think it was, against Sussex. He's averaging 19, 2.31 economy rate. Control, attacking prowess, can bat as well. Absolutely outstanding talent for what is, by a country mile, the best team in the division. And I know we're at the halfway point, 7 games down. Most teams have played 7. Unfortunately for Leicester, they've played 8, lost 5, drew 3. It's going to take something drastic for Notts to completely have this momentum and just consistency they've got around their cricket turn around, especially when you go and win a game where the opposition scores 440. You're kind of in a position like, 440 is a good score. Hold my beer, mate. 548 scoring its run rate of 5.05. they're stacked. If they don't lose people, that batting lineup, top 7, top 8 with Patterson White coming in is really, really good. And there's guys like Joey Everson to come back in at certain stages. And the bowling attack that, Broad could drop back in. They are just they're a really talented team. Luke Fletcher didn't even play this game, Rich. There's a lot to like about Nottinghamshire, and unfortunately for Leicestershire, there's a whole bunch of holes, and those holes are not going to be filled this year. But I think one person who has been outstanding this year for them, he did well in this game. He got 78. Was Ben Mike. He bowls quick enough, and he hits a very, very long ball. I've seen quite a lot of him in the Vitality T20 Best. In fact, Leicestershire's probably everyone on Twitter's second favourite county at the moment. The chairman there, I think it's Sean Jarvis, his name might be, I could have that wrong. He's done an outstanding job in promoting affordable cricket for the T20 Blast, and they are having sellouts. They're $10 tickets or £10 a ticket. And they've done great. They've done absolutely great. Even though they're not doing well, they're promoting cricket in the right way and finding a price point that appeals to people, which is highly unusual for cricket a lot of the time. So kudos to you, Sean, if that is your name. But yeah, Leicestershire's in a hole, mate. They're not coming out of it, and Nottinghamshire's on a high, mate, and they're not coming out of it either.
No, absolutely. I mean, they're only 10 points ahead of Middlesex. Both played 7 games at the minute, but not are top of the table. But it feels like that gap is only going to grow at the moment. That's not just the optimism. That's just the way it seems like Notts are playing, and they have the depth, don't they? Derbyshire, Toby Petman's on loan there. He took himself 4 wickets with the new ball as well. So there is a depth of bowling, to rotate and keep them fresh. But Patterson White is the star, leading wicket-taking spinner in the game, not just Division 2, but in the whole of county cricket at the moment this summer. He's on England watch for us now. And I think he's pushing himself forward. He can bat as well, which we always know England setups love a spinner that can bat. And he could easily slot in at number 8 if we ever got to the point where we were considering him or he was being considered for that test spot. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, Rob. But yeah, we're back to blast, aren't we, next week? We're back to another test match. We're back to Netherlands against England in the ODIs. And then County Championship will stumble along and reappear at some point in the near future.
Yeah, Championship's back 26th of June on a Sunday it starts. Few games going on, not loads of games actually, but just some games. So we'll be back for a County Championship review when that's gone on next week. Rich is away in Amsterdam. He's enjoying a bit of the cricket and a bit of the sightseeing, which is absolutely fantastic. So we'll be back and we'll chat to Rich about that experience in the 3 games that's gone on in between. And then we're getting ready for the 3rd test match and the whole shebang of team positive England test match cricket. And we'll all be eating cheese and ham toasties and having a coffee before the game starts, a la Johnny Bairstow. So thank you so much for listening, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you soon.